Hello everyone, thanks for joining my channel. Please subscribe and like. This is a little different than what I normally do, but we're going to be taking this particular photo right here and changing it to a more artistic composition like this. So hold on to your seats and we'll show you how it's done. Okay, here's the photo we're going to use today to try this technique with. And so I've never done this on this photo, so bear with me. First thing I want to do is we want to crop this photo. You can clear your crop up here and go back to original ratio. We're going to make this crop, I'm going to make it like 5:7. Then I'm going to bring it in, and let's just try to get in maybe this much. Something like we can do these three in there. Let's try this right here. Okay. I'm going to check the delete crop pixels just in case I want to come back to more of it. But anyway, this is what we're starting with right here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the color some. So I'm going to go up to Camera Raw Filter, and let me size this where you can see this. Okay. My screen's bigger than what the software that I'm using to record on. So we've got this photo now, and we want to start changing those colors. What this process I've got from this girl that shows how to do it. She does a lot of color changes in here, like on the hue, she pumps up the purples, blues. She brings down the yellows and the greens, and it's probably different on every one. We're just trying to get a certain look. We're going to do the same thing on saturation. We're going to pump up the blues and purples and bring down the greens and the yellows. We're also going to do a little bit of basic on this one. I always like to try automatic, but on this one here, we will try the auto and see what happens. It does pretty good a little bit. I think I'll bring down the highlights a little more. The whole idea is we're going to try to make these stand out a little bit more. We're going to pick these few flowers here and make them stand out a little bit more. So I might bring up the clarity a little bit. Let's go back into light. Those changes change. One of the things she does, she collapses all her layers every time she uses them, so we're not going to worry with that right now. But anyway, she does a little bit of changes to the color like this, and then she goes in, and I'm going to do Control J, which will create a new layer down here, and I'm going to use dodging and birding right here I'm going to burn my highlights, birding the highlights at like 20 might be a little high, but for this one's okay. We're going to start darkening. I'm clicking on these different areas of the photo that are outside. We learned this in the last one, Lisa Langell, to get those bright areas darkened down in the background some. So we're just going around where the bright areas are, and we're just darkening those down. I'm just clicking here with this, with the highlights, to get the dark areas in the back. I want them, anything that's got some brightness to it, we're toning it down. So it doesn't look like I probably did a whole lot right now, but if you go down here and click off on this layer, you can see I've Alright, so I'm going to keep going a little bit more on this. Then I'm going to go to midtones. And see, you'll really see a lot of difference now in midtones. We're going to start darkening down the some of these mid-tone areas. We want to get them muted where you can't see them, where that causes those three flowers to stand out more, especially this one right here. I may even get rid of that one right in here, but we can leave it and just darken these mid-tones down on the outside. So that's pretty good for now. Now we're going to go ahead and flatten this layer. Now this is something I typically wouldn't do, but because we want things to keep working on this same layer, we're going to do that. We can also go in, I'm going to Control J, create a new layer, and now we can use the dodge tool, which will brighten areas. So we're going to go for the midtones here. We're going to be clicking on these flowers here to get them to brighten up a little bit. We can even go to shadows and try that. Get them. I want them a little brighter. So I'm just clicking with my mouse. Not even going to use my Wacom today, so we're going to keep. I'm going to go to highlights. See how that's lightening up these highlights. You don't even have to be real perfect with your selection with your brush tool, because you're only working on the highlights right here. So we're getting those brightened up some. We want these to stand out. So if you look at this now, see how much brightness we put in there. Might even put a little bit more. We want them to really stand out. Alright, so I got that now. So I'm going to go back and flatten that layer. And like I said, most people keep all their layers. This is just the way this girl does it that I learned it from. And we're going to keep doing it the same way. So then, now I'm going to go back into Camera Raw. And you can do this kind of as many times as you want. The thing I want to do in here is I want to put a little bit of a vignette and darken the outside some. And it doesn't hurt to go a little overboard here on this, because the whole idea is it's going to be a little overboard on the photo anyway. Oops, I forgot to do something. I'm sorry. Let me go back into lens correction. No, cancel, not lens correction. I want to go back into Camera Raw. And so I did the vignetting really well here. You can also use the elliptical tool, but I'm going to use this right now. Let's go back into basic tabs and bring up maybe the highlights, bring down the shadows. That's going to make it a little bit different, maybe a little bit more contrast. Yeah, that looks good. The whites, let's bring up the blacks, let's bring down. Maybe a little bit more clarity, a little bit more vibrance, and then we can go back into those colors, and we're going to saturate again the blues, purples. So we're kind of doubling up on what we did before. Bring down the greens, the yellows, and the oranges. And also in the hues, we're going to bring down the yellows, oranges, and bring up the purples. So that we're really making this oversaturated and making these flowers stand out. So that really looks pretty good from where we started from. Now the next step is we're going to go into Liquify. I may have to adjust this size of this. Yeah, let me bring this in where you can see it, because I'm on a big. I have a big wide screen, so I have to adjust to go inside or my recording software. Okay, we're inside Liquify now. Now what I want to do is I want to give it a little bit of a bend in some of these areas. So I can adjust the brush size by using the bracket keys. We might want to bend this one over. We want to give it some. We might want to go this way. We're trying to give them a little bit of a look. This one I'll be a little bit more. We're just kind of giving this a different look than what it had. kind of gives it that little curved look in there. So that's good. We're going to go back now. We got that curved look. And then here's the trick. This is a really good thing. We're going to go into Stylize and over into Oil Paint. Now if your oil paint is grayed out right here, then you do not have CPU accelerator turned on, and you may not have a video card that can actually support that. So I'm going to go up to my preferences and over to performance, and here's where you have to have used graphic. If you've got this checked, then, and this will stay on when you check it, then you have your graphics processor and you're using a video card. I use a GeForce 3080. These things were around $1,200, and right now it'll cost you $3,000 to get one of these video cards because they're in such high demand. I just happened to be lucky and get one before they went up, but I do have mine on. Anyway, if you can go to Adobe's site, adobe.com, and search for their graphic cards, it'll tell you the graphic cards you can use for your computer that'll work for this if you have to replace it. But if you don't see it in here, that's the reason why. So I'm going to go to the oil paint. To oil paint. Now these settings right here, you might want to take a picture of these, and I'm going to set them back the way they're supposed to go because I've moved those around. Everything to the right on the top two, and everything to the left on this side with lighting turned on. This is the settings that she used right here. And we're going to hit OK. And that just puts oh, let me go back on that. I'm sorry. I click Control Z to go back, so we're back. I'm going to create a layer for that. Control J creates a layer over here. Now let's go back and do that with the filter. Sometimes I'll do this twice too. So if you want to look in this preview here, you can click on it. It shows you what you're doing to this, what you're doing to it. It gives it an oil paint look, and it's hard to see on my screen probably. Make it a little bit larger here, Control plus. It just gives it that kind of look. I'm going to actually do Control J this again and create and double this right here. So now we have two layers on here. Let me bring this up so you can see it. Two layers that we've actually done this to. If you turn them off, each one off, you can kind of see. Like I say, you may not see it. I'm just going to group these layers, and the reason why I'm doing this is just so I can have this one grouped layer with those two adjustments in there. Then I'm going to add a layer mask to that group, and I'm going to take my brush and on the black color, make sure you're on black. You can take that out. So we're going to go in here and maybe take a little bit of that out of these stems so they kind of show up a little better. Might even do it like right here. So we're taking out, we're at 100%. We're taking out whatever we just did on that stylized to, you can see on this layer mask where I took it out. Now on this particular one, I don't have any like frizz and hair on these tulips, so it doesn't show up as good as it usually does on this type photo. But anyway, we can go ahead and flatten these layers. It gives it that stylized look on there now. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go down to our adjustment layers and go up to Color Lookup. And in Color Lookup, I'm going to do the load 3. This is lookup table. Gives you different color lookups. I'm going to go down to Crisp Warm and click on that. And when I do, it gives it this color. Now I'm going to back this off to about, I don't know, 50, somewhere around 50%. Then I'm going to go and do it again, and this time I'm going to go to the middle of the second one here, and I'm going to do the gold crimson. It gives it this color. Again, I'm going to take that down to where it looks good, where I like it. I like that kind of look it's got right there. So I've got it the way I want it now. This is the way I want it to look. So I'm going to flatten that layer now. So now this is the kind of look we have. I like this muted look. If you see some places where it's still a little too bright, you can go back to your dodge tool and hit a few of these areas just a little bit more so we can dumb them dumb them down a little bit so that we don't have these real bright areas. There's one right there. We don't want them. All right. I even want to bring down this stem right here a little bit using the highlights. That's a little bright. I want the attention to be just on these flowers. Okay, so we have those, and now it looks, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it looks real painterly looking now. So the next thing I'm going to do is add, this is where you'll have to add the assets that you have. I actually have some assets that I bought that are like butterflies and stuff. So it comes with this right here. It's an action. This is something you can add it without doing the action. I'm just showing you how it does. It takes me to where I have my butterflies at, and then I can take a butterfly and hit place. It's going to place this butterfly here. We can change this in a second. You click on the layer a couple of times and it creates this. Now I've noticed that it turns it backwards for some reason, so I'm going to do Control T, and I'm going to right click in here and flip it horizontally. Now I can move that butterfly anywhere we want to go. So I'm going to have them landing on the tulip. I don't even know if butterflies land on tulips, but we're going to put them right here and hit enter. So now we have that. One thing you can do, what I've been doing, is if you go down here and click on this layer right here where the butterfly is. Now, oh, by the way, before that, if you want to change any of the properties, like the color of the butterfly would be right here, just double click on this. Let me hide this so it doesn't confuse you right here. This is like the hue and saturation. This will actually change the hue of the butterfly. So if you want it to change it and kind of get it to look more like your scene, you might want to even brighten it or darken it, saturate a little bit here as brighten and darken. Get it kind of look about the same as the rest of the scene. You can also lighten and darken with this one. So I'm going to brighten a little bit maybe to get it to look kind of close to what we have with the rest of the flowers and things. So that's just one of the tips there. That's what these two layers are for right here. So I'm going to go back to this layer with the butterfly, and then I can actually come down here to filter, stylize, and oil paint, and put an oil paint just on the butterfly itself. Then we could change, if you look in your view up here and watch what it's actually doing, you might want to change some of these, but I like to go back and leave them so that these settings will be the last settings. When you go back to this again next time, you'll always be set the way you left it, and all these to the left up here, to the right up here, and all these to the left. But you can change it and look in there and see if you see any difference. That gives it a little bit more right there. What I just did gives it a little bit more line, so I'm going to try that. And that just changes the butterfly a little bit because we're only on this layer down here. So that's another, we've added that. Let's go ahead and flatten all those layers. So now we're back to our one layer with butterfly and this. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my actions again and add another overlay. So I'm going to have to hunt for this one because I can't remember where it's at, but I'm going to go to my, I got it in another overlays folder that I have here. Let me find it here. Let's see. I'm going to have to hunt for this because I got so many of them. I'm looking for sun lens flare, maybe not that one. Let's see. Lighting photo. I bought these and there's so many of them that you have to just hunt for them when you look for it. And what I'm looking for is a, that's not that one. I'm looking for the one with the sun flare in it. Rainbow, let's see, natural sun Let's see what this is. Okay, this will be good right here. So we're going to put some sunlight up in the corner. Let's try maybe, let's try this one right here. When it comes on here, this is what it looks like. And we're going to click on this layer twice, and that's going to create our layer. And for some reason, it always turns it backwards from what I usually want. And I can, with this one here, I'm going to hit Control T again, to transform tool, and I'm going to bring it up in the corner. And then I'm going to kind of stretch this out a little bit. You can go in here and distort too, and bring this out a little bit so that it really distorts down how you want it to look, kind of natural looking. So I'm going to do that distortion. Let me minus this a little. I'm going to hit Control minus and bring it down so I can distort this up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Enter. Let's go Control plus again. I'm on a PC. Now I can go down and I can drop the opacity with this so it's not quite as harsh. Okay, so that's got that looking the way I want it. So I'm going to flatten the image again, and I'm going to go back one more time and find some glitter to put on this. Again, we're going to have to look for this because I can't remember where all these are at. I think she's got the one that I bought from her. Let's see, let's go back up to Fine Art. I've got this video that she gave me right here, overlays. No, glitter, there it is. Glitter right here. Nope, I've done imported that somewhere. Sorry about that. Let me go back down to overlays, petal, light, glitter effects. Here we go, right here. So here are all our glitter effects. I need to find something to look good. Remember, this is going to be the opposite. I want something kind of thrown out. Let me look through these. Let's see. Something with some glitter effect. We don't have to put all these. We're going to mask out some of these. Just want something. Maybe this one here. I'm just going to pick one. And we'll go ahead and make this big enough. Actually, I'm going to rotate this around by turning it. And doesn't matter if you're straight or not. Bring it up to the top here. Bring it up to the top. Let's cover up the whole. Let's cover up the whole photo with it. And then we're going to click again, click a second time, and here's our glitter effect. Now, if you want to move this, if you want to change it around, you can hit Control T, and maybe we want to flip it vertically. Put everything, whatever you want to do, is right here. Now, what I don't want to do is there's a couple things. I want to hit Enter. I'm gonna go back. I'm on the mask. They're automatically on the mask here when you do this. So I'm gonna take my brush, my black brush, to get rid of what I don't want. I'm going to size it bigger. I don't want it on here. I'm going to click on these. I'm at 100%, so just one click to get rid of them. I don't want them on my butterfly. I don't want them on my flowers. I want them in the background, kind of in here a little bit, maybe. Might get rid of some of these up here and some of these down here, because it won't look like it's kind of almost throwing them out through there. So I like that. You could even lower the opacity if it seems like it's a little too bright for them. Let's lower these down just a little bit. The glitter effect. If you go too far, it'll actually cut them off. We can leave that right there, and then we're going to flatten this layer. And I might do one more. I'm going to go back again to my overlays, and let's try falling petals. And we can use white or pink. Let's use pink. Pink petals. And this one looks good right here. These are going to be falling petals. So these look kind of cool. Let's see where I want to put them at. Might put them. Let's put them down. Let's put some down here. We'll put some right here. Again, I'm going to go to distort. And I'm going to bring these like that maybe. Bring this out just a little bit. Here. And I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to click on this twice. Well, once that time. So, oh, for some reason, let's see what happened here. Control T. Well, for some reason I lost that. Let's try that one more time. Let's flatten the layer. I don't know what I did here. I don't know what I did right there, but let's try it again. Let's go back again. Get the same ones. Let's try these right here. I just messed up a little bit. I'm going to move these right here. Those look pretty good. You know what? Let's do this. Let's delete that. And let, Alright, let's go back to here. Let's try that one more time. Sorry about that confusion there. I'm having a little bit of trouble with it myself. Let's go back with these petals. I like these. Falling off down through here maybe. I'm looking at these few down through here. We'll click here. I know what I didn't do. I didn't hit enter. There they are. Now they always, like I said before, hit Control T. For some reason they go backwards. I'm going to go back here and flip this horizontal. Move them back into place. I'm going to delete a few of these. Maybe make this a little bit smaller so we can get these in here. A few petals coming off down through here. Okay. Hit enter. And now with my brush at black again, I'm going to get rid of a few of these. If you want to see what this looks like, you can turn off your first layer and you can see these petals in here. So I can see that I want to get rid of maybe a couple up in here. I just want these few petals coming off down here. So then I'm going to flatten that layer again. Now I'm kind of finished with this now. It looks good to me. If you wanted to do just a little bit more to it, kind of push it a little bit more, we can go back into Camera Raw. Maybe you want to, let's try the radial filter. Let me see how I don't use it in. I usually use it in Lightroom. I'm trying to remember how to reset everything. But maybe come in with a radial filter on just these assets right in here, and maybe want to darken the outside just a little bit. Let's feather that too. See what the feather is. Feather mask. I'm not used to using it actually in here. 30. Let's see. I want to turn on a bit of day haze. There it is, feather right there. Okay. We're putting exposure on the outside. We're bringing down the exposure on the outside is what I did. So that's good there. Let's go back to our tools, basic tools. Now here you could actually change your white balance a little bit if you liked it a little warmer maybe. A little bit more of your purples. You can play with the clarity again, make it just stand out a little bit more. Maybe give it a little bit more vibrance. It's got a lot of vibrance, but anyway, that looks pretty good. So we're going to go back, and that's it. So we've taken that photo and we've taken it from, let me make a stamped snapshot here, camera. Let's see, let me go back up. So we've taken it from here to here. So what I did was made a snapshot which gives me my finished results up here, so it's easily to bring back and forth so I can look. So this is where we started. Yep, let me minus that down so we can see it. This is where we started, and here's where we finished. So that's the tutorial. Hope that's a lot, but you can play with it and do different things. These assets, you'll have to buy. I will put a link in here, and I'll have it written down here in just a second, and I'll show where to buy these at. And they were not expensive. I'll also put a discount code for them in there. It'll make them half off. They're very cheap. You get a lot of them too. It's just find them, and it's easy to put the actions in. If you don't put the actions in there to bring them in, you just go in there and copy and put them in here, paste them in. It's easy. When you do this, you have the ability to change the color and things like that. So that's about it. Appreciate it.